sector or not the private sector, or there should be modalities for you to have means to pay your loan, all right? And I think one of the things that they have done is to be tracking how your finances are. So if you have any means where you can get your resources, they're able to see if you are sustainable enough to pay that particular loan. But also I'm sure we're going to talk about it. We can talk about the interest that comes with that.
Please go.
Yeah. So for instance, let's give an example of UNZA, which is the University of Zambia. So projectively, someone when they graduate, they have something like 180,000 kwacha of a loan that they have to pay. And if you get a job, let's say you're a degree holder, you get a job. If you're getting anything which is above 8,000, should be paying somewhere an interest rate of pay as you earn, which is 37% somewhere there, and then the loan itself.
Let's put it simple. I love the way you're coming out.
Yeah.
But let's just put it simple. What you're basically saying is you typically start life on debt.
Definitely. So it's like you are saying
You're
that
a youth. You're coming from.
So what that does is that you are saying that education is an equalizer, but at the same time you have those that comes from not well-to-do communities or families.
Yeah.
They get into education. Some of them, they don't even know that here what I'm applying for or what I'm signing for is a loan. You finish, they give you a grace period of 1 year. You get a job, and because of lack of employment in Zambia, which is a very huge problem, you find that people who have different qualifications, they are going for jobs with lower qualifications. So which means they'll be cutting you quite a huge sums of money. So that brings in a problem. It's like you're not really uplifting the livelihood of individuals. Remember, these individuals also have families that they have to take care of. So you graduate, Lakson, you have to pay at least the interest rate of 15%, and they have to cut you 25% of your pay, of your salary. And from there, you have to pay the pay as you earn, which is at 37%, right? So all these things, you factor them in, you see that people are now going to be on perpetual debt. And if you are in perpetual debt, even as a country, we are complaining that the reason why we're not developing because we have a debt burden. But then policymakers don't want to look at this concept and say, what about the debt burden that we're given to our young people? And for me, what hates the most is that the individuals who have been pushing for these the policy implementation, despite its merit that it might bring, but these are the individuals who benefited completely, 100% scholarship. Everything was given to them, and some of them were even sent out of the country to go and study so that we can build a system that will enable others to come and enjoy the fruits of hard work. Remember, you said the University of Zambia was built through the contribution of everyone, because they said what we are doing is that we are doing a structure that will support the coming generation. So it's like we have lost the concept and why this thing existed.
Before not to blame anyone, obviously, but I even love the dynamics you just given of policymakers. The current president often gives an example of himself.
He was there.
And that person was a huge equalizer. He managed to get through university, and he's where he is right now. But in all this, again, you talked of employment, which I don't think, from where I stand, is not really a problem. Because then if you're given these loans, the skill sets that you acquire in these universities are not what they're looking for in the job market. So maybe it could be just mismatch of skill set and the job itself.
It's very important. So we're also having a misdirection, like your career, what you have studied for, what your qualification is, due to the fact that there are no job. There are no job in the market, and you don't want to have that the debt burden. So what you do is that you look for other means, which means your skill set is not getting utilized. And the importance of education, that we should be able to use your skills, more particularly if you have benefited from government support. And that's why I, for one, stand for 100% scholarship to deserving students, so much so that their skill can contribute.
What makes a deserving student, Comrade?
So, of course, we I think I did mention this, that there's always a cutoff point, there's always a criteria that is set. And by the way, loans are supposed to be given to vulnerable students, right?
That's not mostly the case.
Yes, those ones who cannot afford. But of course, we know that there are issues to do with people who always have connections.
I get on
and
that
the people
part.
who can get the loans
I get on that
that.
part. I mostly ride on the dimension that you have to give out maybe empowerment funds to marketeers.
Yeah.
Whether marketeers from Woodlands or Kanyama, they're marketeers. Just
Yeah.
give them what's there. It's the same thing with students. We might not really call it as those who are vulnerable are entitled to this. The fact that they are all students and need education, give them, because.
So this is where now we begin to advocate for a complete or 100% sponsorship in all the public institution. So what is happening is that you have public institution, and none of the public institution they are giving these bursaries or scholarships. They are tying them to loans. So it's like the same board that we have set up is now like a bank that is just collecting money from the same people that is saying it's helping. And then at the end of the day, there's an interest rate of 15%. As a way of mobilization, I think what we have not also heard from the government point of view is how much have they been mobilizing, because the mandate of the board is not only to be getting money from who were beneficiaries of the loans, but also to do resource mobilization. But one can ask, how much did they get from resource mobilization?
No, you don't pay back. You don't pay back.
No, beyond the students themselves, they have a mandate to look for money elsewhere. So beyond the student, how much did they mobilize? How much did they mobilize with the private sectors? How much did they mobilize with other entities? So such mismatch is that now you're placing the whole burden on the student or those who are graduates, on the young people, which means you're not sustaining their lives. So the livelihood it continues to be a vicious circle. So you now have the burden of paying up the loan. You have the burden if you're a breadwinner of the families. Some of these graduates are coming out from their families. They are the first graduate in the family. There are a lot of expectation. You have to now see your siblings